Hello, everybody. Welcome to SingularityNet Translator support onboarding session. Previously, you mainly had to simply apply to the translation task and provide the translation, but now you also have opportunity to manage the viewer task itself and move it to the forum and get rewarded for also doing that kind of activities. And it's a nice entry way to actually manage tasks and assets created by community members. So in this call, first 10 minutes or so, I will share a bit of this starting documentation. I show Miro and then I also show a work. And then we get into activity action like going through the process of moving the task step by step on work, but then also playing through the activities, not actually really translating, but just making sure we understand the details required to move the task and audit the task correctness. And then we finish up with questions and feedback. So yeah, let me get started with the documentation first. So everything can be found on this main meeting, and also when you apply, you will all see this information too. So that's the main document I'm starting with. The key premise is the translation management process is made up of two key components: onboarding translators and supporting translators to become self-organizing translators. And now where we are basically at the second part, where you are learning to actually self-organize your translator activities and also support others to speed along. Once you are basically part of Translator, we can now move on and see we have this Miro board open. I'll open it up to let it load a little. Just to quickly go through the entire document, because now there may be, so onboarding methods, these are now the opening tasks we use. And this is copy-pastable information that is not needed in our case today, but we should look into forum requirements. So everybody going to have an access to forum at some point, if you all don't have already. And then this week or next week. And then we are basically giving you more permission so you can start editing and putting stuff on there. And you will be putting your or other translators. Main things you will look into when we are like moving from work task or Google document, the translator to forum, is that are the links in the blog all working? Are the images copied? And sometimes they are missing, and does it link to the source document? So the forum post actually has to link to the translation itself too, if it exists. And basically that will be the work task. And source, yeah, actually maybe it's better if we just remember it. Does it link to the source? Okay, that by source document it means actually the article link to the source document. And yeah, this is an optional thing. We actually haven't discussed it further. Should we check and compare it with Google Translate, or simply see that as a valid translation? Or sometimes, yeah, you are actually not able to even do the differentiation, how correct that is. So that is an optional thing if you want to just check, but it's not mandatory. And when we do a forum post, there are some templates, and we will basically, when we get to the document part, when we go to practice, we get back to this, and then we show that we can copy paste this template and fill it up correctly. And that is it from the main document. So I opened up also the Miro board process map. So if you didn't remember or how this was written, so basically you can see 4 lanes here: to do, in progress, in review, done, actually finalized, but open space is outside of the T workspace. So, and on the top here, you will see task name. So all these blocks are invitation task, onboarding task, translation support task. So different T-work bundles that are there and are there in the D-work, but then also these yellow, green, and are roles. Basically, all the sticky notes here are mainly roles, except the purple ones. These are changes or issues. So as we always do stuff, it's kind of there are always updates and like new changes and things to improve our processes. So you will find these too. And actually, even if you zoom out, you will see become translator support. So the thing we are doing right now, it's totally unmapped and basically just exploring with you together how to onboard people like you. Anyway, so related to these sticky notes, then the yellow ones are translator support tasks. So these are all the things translator support actually could be doing. And today we are only focusing on the translator support activities here, because they are like engagement of the translation task. Usually when we apply to task and we submit translation, then this is where you come in and check formatting, documentation, permissions, and links. So I thought today we could go through these steps, these sticky notes one by one, and see where we end up with. But before we go into translator support activities, let's make sure everybody gets to use the forum. So let me check up. I haven't actually even used the D-work yet. So then let's start from D-work first. I think it's best to do that. Yep. I'm just going to open up the totally new D-work link. And those who are here, we'll also have to give you now permissions. So this is the workspace for translator workgroup. And on top, I'm going to share it also in Zoom. I'm now going to jump into Discord and find your names to make sure that all of you have training, I guess. Fine, training role. So what I will put on right now is I'm going to create 3 new tasks here. And I'm going to name it test fix. And I'm going to assign, I'm just going to assign major DeFi here. And I'm going to assign Supreme Spice F2. And then now you have to find your keyword task, and then let's see what we will do. I'm gonna also make my own task so that you always have something to see what is expected, what is the next step output. So let's use these test 1, 2, 3, 4, and these things. Everybody now start working on your own task. I think the first step would be to say that this is a translation task. So rename basically your task name to the translation task based on the number you have. For example, I had 4. And then, yeah, and then let's create a new Google document. We don't even know how to create quickly a document. And let's Let's share it out. Anyone with link, then view, that's fine. And let's paste it as the keyword task. So yeah, let's everybody put your own empty blank document. I think that's fine. And this way we can make sure we have the same starting point. Now, from my side, I'm going to actually copy paste one source article to everybody's description too. And that's basically showing will be our example article we assume we're translating. So next step. So what we played through is like, let's say this link now gave us this source article. This Google Doc, what you just shared, basically is going to be the translation and where we basically play around so that we can all see that we are working on the same thing. And then we also need to set up a second task. All right, I wonder, so if we want to start matching up the second, so basically we created an example of translation task. Now we should actually create the example of translator support activities. So contact ambassador to create the task, to create translator support task. Okay, so you actually don't have to contact the ambassador to do that. Okay, so I think with why it was it at the start like that is we assumed you don't actually create the tasks, we create one task for you, and then under that one task you start collecting the support activities. But I think right now we're not that high of enterprise. Let's just keep it. We don't actually have to contact, so you have the power to create translator support task on your own. To do that, we actually use template. So let me see how far you are. I'm going to refresh the page and see. And still major DeFi, waiting for you and Emma Dance. You're missing a title. Major DeFi. Is it still the same problem that you cannot change the name or add description? Yeah, I wonder, perhaps it's because you're on mobile phone, at least I see iPhone. Yeah, so same for you, Emma, the major DeFi. I assume you're on a phone and you cannot change stuff. So create the Google Doc in the Zoom chat, and yeah, I will add it to the tasks. That's auto, but I wonder if Major DeFi and Emma then is able to now in the backlog, you see this button plus desktop, it is like that. And when you create a new task, so the question is, can you create the new tasks? And if you can, then click on the template option and choose translator support activities, $5. And then this information should hop up. If it doesn't, you don't get any descriptions, then you have to select a different template and then click back. Sometimes it doesn't load right away. We have to kind of go back and forth. And when you do, assign yourself, find your name. I can find myself. And then you can put yourself as a reviewer too. And you create the template task. Well, I guess we're going to then continue with Sucre and Spice here. And the rest of you just have to kind of keep up and then do it from home. Because at the end of this, what we are going to show you you are going to pick up your own task basically and do it with real translation. Okay, Sukreen, were you able to do the new task? Let me refresh and see. Yes, you also have. So when I click onboarding, so this Twork also has like these different views we can look at. So everything that all are the tasks. If you just want to find translation tasks and see where they are, then this is translation task, and registration are also seen from both one. And also when you just want to manage the task activities we have been doing, then this onboarding is kind of good to find your task faster. So let's get back to Marburg and see where we are. So we created a translator support task. Now copy translation task link to the description. So when you have this translator support activities also open, I try to bring relevant information also to here. So this translation support task, submit the translation task Twork link here in description to record the support task. So these are basically the same steps. So what I'm expecting here is that this translation task we have from here, we take this Twork task link, you copy this URL, or you can also take it from here, 3 dots, copy task link, both will work. And then you come to your, I'm gonna open to your support task, and you remove this link to task and you just copy paste the URL directly to the description. And then you will have this translation task for option here. Once you want to get rewarded, move this task to the review section. So yeah, as you collect these, the more of these different URLs you have supported, the more rewards you actually accumulate with this one single task. So you don't have to do a translator support activity for every single task. Now refresh, see where you are. And then also, then the next steps are send task invitation to translator, update due date. That's fine. Let's assume we are already doing that task. I have not yet added that link. Then enforce deadlines, we don't have to go into that. Then we check formatting, document permissions, and links, AK links to open. So that is a task. So for example, when we would look at the original translator, let's say these things, what are added to then they provide you the Google document. Sometimes they're missing pictures. So if they are missing from original, then you can take that. This is very big. And then also to make sure that these links are leading to places, you can see, okay, this for this, that. And when you compare it with also the source article, so just, I don't know what I opened or where I opened it. I have to find again, I guess. Source article is on the main task. Then here we can say original version. You can see if links are the same. There are a lot of links. And then we can see if we scroll down, and he also has a lot of links. So it looks quite neat, quite good. And then we know, okay, this check is done, and then you move on to the next step, upload translation to the forum. So I click up the forum, and let me check back to our onboarding tasks, how far you are. Okay, I see you added this task here. So now the second thing was to, when you go into this article and you have rejected it, now once we have checked that, we also go to this forum post and upload it there. And now the question is, do you all have, okay, Sucre Spice has a forum post, but Emadens and Major DeFi, do you have forum account? And if not, then you will have to create it and let me know what the name you're using so that we can start giving you permissions to put them on forum. But for today, for this special exercise, we are not going to use forum. And instead, if you remember, so when you click on the translation task, all of these have these Google documents listed there. So what I want you to do is to this Google document, add basically the information, like the article information, like what has to be in the header. So the source article, translation by keyword task, all of that information into the document. So I know that you know how to use the templates. And if you're wondering, where are the templates? So one option is this translation management document here, but also if you remember, on the translator support activities task itself, there are these templates. So the name of the document, oh yeah, of course, you can add that too as a title, the format, how it should look like the language, and so, and then article name, and then the second link. And all of these weird brackets and has to be also in the same braces, because this is the markdown forum is reading. So yeah, for example, how I do it. So this is, yep, this is correct. You are working on it. Let me see what translation task I took. So translation task 4, article is this one, hypercycle. So I'm gonna do a hypercycle one. We'll copy paste the English name. I created this document. Same way, gonna go back one step. Going to take the templates here. I'll copy paste both of them. So language, yeah, let's assume I give the Estonian language. I don't know other than English. The article name would be hypercycle, whatever. And the journey of full labor capability. In this below section, of course, I don't think we have any polls needed here. And article name again. Hypercycle, publisher name. Then what's what happened here? Get this name. Singularity link to source article. So that would be then this one. Yeah, I think it doesn't have to be linkable. Then translated by Discord name. So that you get from Discord. And final keyword task link. So we're not going to use the translator support task, but the actual translation task. Okay, so basically that would be the for in this case. Copy paste that in. That prep is not needed. And this would be then filling up the template and basically that in the same format, except this. This would be the title of the forum post. And this section would be the top header of the forum post, translation post. So let's step back a little and see where we are at the space. So we are actually here uploading translation. So our task should be, because it's in progress flow, technically our translation task should be, or the onboarding task should be in progress. So I'm going to move myself in progress. And here, and this helps to, like, if you move this along and you kind of stop what you're doing, then if you do these, like, have everything in proper stages, then it's easier to pick up later, like, oh, what is this task in here, what it means, and it's like easier to digest, like, what's the next step for the task. And then also for actually translation tasks, we didn't move it from backlog to do, because it means that the task was in to-do section when when you're already, like, putting it to the forum. This means it's far further. So I'm going to move, well, not in broad, yeah, so I'll move your translation task here and your translation task here. And what also then interesting is, so if you open up your task, you would, for the onboarding task, you will also see that in your description, you can see that this translation task is in progress. So when you would actually, before seeing it some backlog or in to-do, then you know the translation task is not yet done. But once somebody submits it, or the one you're supporting, then you can also see it in here, the moving in progress, and you can start working on that. So with this Google Doc example we just did, we basically completed this part. So the next step will be check on soup tasks, check forum views to indicate. So yeah, there's an if statement. So basically that's time passes. Let's see, there is nothing to check on. If requires improvements, if doesn't, then if you want to reward, okay, so that is done here. Another one, added to forum tag. Okay, so another thing, like this tag, added to forum tag. So we should actually add a task to translation task. But I want to check if translator support activities, Diver task also has this notification button. Right now, I wonder why it's loading so long. You can find latest checks and balances and full process map. Okay, so not all the details are mentioned in here, but actually we should. So as I mentioned, we basically are in totally new territory. So I'm going to update templates here. So the next time in future translator supports us, we are doing it, we also see this information. And as you are now also translator support, you should be able to change templates. So if you see some questions that rise up or like things that bother you and missing, you also update templates. I just updated that. So let's go back to the board, continue. So we have translation tasks. We want to now move, we uploaded them now to forum. This Google playthrough we did. And we add this added to forum. And this gives a signal to the article admins that everything is now connected and they can update the article. So let's see, do we need to, yeah, so the fat arrow says actually also an activity that we move this task now to in review section. And our work is now done with the task itself. And then we come back to onboarding. You will then see that this is in review. And if you are now starting to do more translation tasks, so this is done for you. and you want to do more, you can see, oh, this French hypercycle blog post, I will help somebody, and let's say Lil Batch takes it up and doesn't want, he's not the translator support, so, and you are interested in helping him to get that link to the forum, you can take this forum task, put it under your name, where was this translator support activities, and you copy paste another one. And right now it's in to do, but once it's in progress, you basically move it to the forum, do all that stuff, and then once that's also done, then let's say, so once you get multiple completed done activities, you simply move them in review. And if you don't have any other translators, let's say you are completed with that one, you move it to do, and you simply wait for more activities. And if you do want to get rewarded, then move it to the last step, and then count as many as so. Let's say I have 2 translations here that were completed, I will put then USB and task points. So each task 1 task point. Basically, I think that was the idea here. But I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was like that. And then you get rewarded. And if you do 5 or 10 or 20 or how many longs you want, for example, right now only Ian is doing this added to forum stuff. So if one of you, for example, Sucre and Spices this week only able to do that, and then on major deep, I will take time perhaps to get forum access, and these are then moving all to in progress. There is like 15 tasks, so you then will be able to move all the articles or translations to the forum and get, I don't know, $50, $75, and you just move the translator support to the in review, and at some point you get rewarded. So there is a lot of outstanding problems there. And hopefully with this help, we also get faster to process the tasks, and then there is more reason for us to partner with other spin-offs to translate articles and information, because our capacity has been increased. Okay, so we move this through, and this is all managed by article admins at the end. Although if there is some issues, then you will see that your, I'm gonna get back to onboarding. So you will see that if translation task for now is in review, but something goes wrong, and article admin says like, wait, this is not supportive, or like I got feedback, this is not well made, and it's moved back to do or in progress. And in progress, basically he will be moving it to do, and from your own onboarding side, you will also see that the translation task is in to do, and you're like, whoa. So at some point you actually not want to have like hundreds of tasks, so it's an easier access to understand where your tasks are. But and you see some to-do stuff, you'll be like, why is it not moving? What's happening here? And then you will see feedback, he's improving. If it's in progress, maybe he made changes. And you may also need to check and balance it. All right. And basically, I think I went through all of that. On the register forum account, create proper forum post with using Google Doc, move dework tasks. That's I think it. We covered all the major topics. Any questions?
No, I mean, if someone assigned a translation task and before the due dates, the person did not complete this task, what should we do about that task?
Okay, so so if somebody goes over due date and doesn't do the translation task, so what next? Was that the question?
Yes.
Yeah, so when we look at the process map, so basically here is that somebody applies to task, but this submit translation task never happens. Then basically here, send the task invitation. So you are, as a support, you will also be waiting for that translation task. So another thing, optional route is enforced deadlines. And the task is cleared, but work is not done. And right now we have a 2 weeks limit. So every time we create we apply a person to task, we put the date to that. And then you can see like June here. And on the same thing, that if time passes, no translation, remove current translator from the task. And basically you move. So if this thing has been moved in some reason into different place, you move that translation task back to 2 and you open up the open to applications. However, the task itself may actually show other people who signed up. So for example, if I give it to Littlebots, 2 weeks passes, nothing happens, you can actually see that Apex also applied to next. So you can just give it to the Apex next. So we can kind of speed ramp that up. Instead of waiting for new applies, you can simply assign it to the next one from the list. There was this goal or that when we first time apply these people to tasks, we actually follow the rule that we check how often that person has done it. So when again I look at this, I see okay, little bit Apex, who should get that translator task? And then in review, I see okay, there is Littlebots here already. I see Apex here, and both of them have one. So yeah, can't really tell. I guess randomly we just choose one here as a Littlebots, and then if you go through different things, you can see our Littlebots is here. So I already gave him a task. I'm gonna give it to CoderFlex next. And here I gave it, okay, we have CoderFlex here, Littlebots here, we haven't given it to OP, so I'm gonna open it. So we try to diversify as much the tasks you can using the previous information tool. So yeah, that's about removing and applying new people to tasks. But yeah, one great thing about this is also that as a translator support, you don't actually have to submit translation as Google Doc anymore. And if you have the capabilities, you can take the translation directly to forum. And with this proper filling that you add this correct article name with English name, and then also the templates, source article list, URL stuff. Does our job as translator support also involve assigning translation tasks? Not really. But it was meant that veteran translators would do that when you onboard new people. However, yeah, for now, example, you can see that when I open this task, quite a lot of time May was opened up. Okay, status changed to 2, so 11 days, yeah. So we would say if 7 days has passed from first applicant, you can start applying tasks. Why not? That's a great idea. Because why wait? Because basically we will do the same ruling. So that's what you will be doing too. All right. With this, we conclude translator support workgroup, and hopefully we get to see more streamlined processes.